The Zorth Dominion had ruled the galaxy for centuries, not through alliances or diplomacy, but through sheer terror. They were known as the Apex Hunters, a species designed for one-purpose conquest. Their ships, sharp as blades and silent as shadows, would appear above a planet without warning. Entire civilizations surrendered before a single weapon fired. The Zoreth didn't negotiate, they devoured. Their soldiers, tall reptilian creatures with cold eyes and armor made from the bones of past victims, were the stuff of nightmares. Stories of their hunts spread from one star system to another, whispered in fear, repeated in secret. Even the most powerful alien races bent the knee when they heard the distant hum of a Zoreth fleet approaching. Planets would disable their own defenses just to avoid the cruel games the Zoreth loved to play before crushing their prey. For the Zoreth, fear wasn't just a tool, it was the foundation of their empire. They believed no species could ever stand against them. But as their ships detected a small blue planet called Earth, they felt nothing but boredom and greed. Another hunt, another conquest. What they didn't know was that this time, the hunt would not go as planned. When the Zoreth invasion fleet reached Earth's orbit, they followed the same pattern they had used for centuries. Their warships blocked out the stars, sending a chilling message across every human device and network. The transmission showed images of destruction, flashes of alien dominance, and the Zoreth symbol, a mark known across galaxies as a promise of death. But this time, something unusual happened. Earth did not panic. There were no mass surrenders, no desperate pleas for mercy. Instead, the humans sent a single reply, short and simple: "We've seen fear before. We're still here." General Krizok, the Zoreth commander, stared at the screen, confused. In his experience, fear always worked. It always broke the enemy before a single shot. Yet the humans showed something different: calmness, almost like they had been preparing for this day. Krizok ordered the ground assault without hesitation, thinking it would end quickly. His troops landed across human cities, expecting chaos and easy victory. But they found streets organized, civilians helping each other, and soldiers already waiting in formation. The Zoreth had made their first mistake. They believed Earth was like the others. They never imagined they were about to face a species that had learned to survive fear, and even worse, to control it. As the battle for Earth continued, the Zoreth commanders noticed something they had never seen before. Human soldiers did not break under pressure. Their lines held firm, even when Zoreth war beasts tore through the front lines. Civilians, instead of running wildly, moved in coordinated groups, guiding children and the elderly to safety with calm precision. It wasn't just bravery, it was something deeper. Humanity had spent centuries facing wars, disasters, and extinction-level threats. They had survived plagues, nuclear threats, and conflicts that had pushed them to the edge of destruction more than once. Fear wasn't new to them, it was part of their evolution. Humans had learned not to eliminate fear, but to use it to sharpen their minds, to steady their hands, and to fight smarter. Special human units, trained for psychological warfare, quietly spread rumors among the Zoreth ranks. They hacked enemy communications, feeding false reports of invisible human weapons and ghost soldiers. Some Zoreth soldiers started seeing shadows where there were none. Others refused to sleep, terrified of being ambushed. The humans weren't just resisting, they were turning fear into a weapon, and the Zoreth, for the first time in their history, felt the cold weight of uncertainty creeping into their hearts. The longer the war dragged on, the more the Zoreth began to lose control, not just of the battlefield, but of their own minds. Their commanders noticed strange patterns emerging. Entire squads stopped responding to orders, locked inside their armored carriers, whispering about unseen enemies stalking them at night. Supplies disappeared without explanation. Zoreth sentries reported strange sounds on their communication channels: breathing, whispers in human language, and sometimes just silence, too perfect to be natural. The fear tactics the Zoreth had always used were now being reflected back at them, but in ways they couldn't understand. Human special forces, nicknamed the Quiet Ones, operated in ways no Zoreth soldier had ever experienced. They didn't announce their arrival with noise and chaos. They moved silently, disabling ships, sabotaging weapons, and planting psychological traps designed to break enemy morale. Even experienced Zoroth hunters, trained from birth to track prey, found themselves confused and scared. Their maps showed safe zones that were no longer safe. Their thermal scanners detected shadows that moved like ghosts. Worst of all, their leaders could not explain what was happening. Every attempt to counterattack failed because the humans were not fighting in a way the Zoroth understood. They weren't defending cities, they were dismantling the Zorath from the inside, targeting their belief in superiority. General Krizuk, once confident of victory, now sat alone in his warship's control room, watching footage of his strongest warriors shaking in fear. He realized something terrifying. The humans had not just prepared for physical war, they had prepared for a psychological one. The Zorath had ruled the galaxy by teaching others what fear was, but the humans had redefined it, turning it into a force more powerful than any weapon Krizuk had ever known. General Krizuk knew the battle was lost before the final report reached his command ship. His soldiers, once considered the most terrifying force in the galaxy, were now broken, hiding in their own war machines, afraid to step outside. It wasn't because of Earth's weapons, it was because of Earth's mindset. The humans had shown the galaxy something new, a species that didn't run from fear, but evolved through it. Krizuk sent his last message to the Zorath Dominion Council, his voice shaking as he explained the reality of the situation. He admitted that the humans had changed the game, not by having stronger ships or deadlier weapons, but by using something the Zorath never thought possible: control over fear itself. They had faced centuries of disasters, wars, and extinction threats, and instead of breaking, they had learned to survive the worst. For humans, fear wasn't an enemy, it was a signal to adapt, to think faster, and to fight harder. Krizuk realized the Zorath had ruled by forcing fear on others, but the humans had become masters of fear in a completely different way. They didn't avoid it, they carried it like armor. Across the galaxy, other alien empires watched the wars ending with quiet disbelief. The message was clear and terrifying. The Zorath, once feared by all, had been defeated by beings who redefined the meaning of fear itself. From that day, the phrase apex predator no longer belonged to the Zorath. It belonged to humanity, not because of superior technology, but because of an unshakable will that could not be manipulated or controlled. The galaxy learned a hard lesson that day: the most dangerous enemy is not the one who tries to avoid fear, but the one who learns to master it.